USC has signed Clay Helton to a 5-year guaranteed contract. With the Los Angeles Times, I'm Lindsay Theory, joined by Zach Helfand and Gary Klein. Gary, you just spoke with Pat Hayden, who says he interviewed several candidates for the position.
Well, Hayden, of course, did not reveal who he interviewed. He was asked specifically about Philadelphia Eagles head coach Chip Kelly. He said he did not interview him. But I think it's safe to say they probably spoke with coaches that were not in season. So there are some guys out of there that are not working currently. I'm guessing they spoke with them and probably to representatives of a lot of different coaches.
USC fans a little bit up in arms, some, about USC hiring an interim coach, not a glitzy name. Helton admitted it himself. But Zach, this obviously isn't the first time that a major program has promoted from within.
Right, and Pat Hayden invoked Dabo Swinney, who's having a really good year with Clemson. They're the #1 team overall right now in the rankings. David Shaw, who's going to play USC on Saturday, was promoted within at Stanford. So you could really make a case for either way. At the end of the day, you have to be a good coach. It helps if you have ties to the school, but you have to be able to be a good coach, which Dabo Swinney and David Shaw are, and we'll see if Clay Helton is also.
Clay Helton would not say what his future plans are for his coaching staff. He said they need to finish out the season, and then that will be evaluated. Gary, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's clear that there are going to be some changes on this staff. They do have another game to play in the Pac-12 championship game, a bowl game to play. But I think it's safe to say that any new head coach is going to want to have his guys in place. And Clay Helton has worked successfully with this staff, but a great deal of these guys came with Steve Sarkisian from Washington. So I don't think there's any question there's going to be some change. Who stays, who goes, remains to be seen.
Zach, Clay Helton made it a point that he's not the glitzy name, he's not the big name that several people probably hoped for. But what were your impressions of him at the podium?
Well, he emphasized that he's a blue-collar coach. He's not glamorous. But what he did is he emphasized his strengths. He talked a lot about USC history. He talks about how you have to be here for a few years to know the ins and outs of such a big and kind of crazy at times program. And he emphasized that. And so he knows that he's not the splashy hire that a lot of guys want, but he addressed that head on, and he emphasized what his strengths actually are.
Gary, Zach just mentioned it. Crazy program, 4 seasons. We've seen all of the craziness. Right. Do you think that it's smooth sailing now? Well, they do have a big championship game, a bowl game, and then don't forget 2016 they opened with Alabama.
That's right. We were sitting in the McKay Center in the team room, and it struck me before this began that we're in there all the time. We've been in here a lot over the last 3 years. So I think they still have focus. I think the fact that they made this hire before that championship game takes some pressure off the players in terms of we're playing for our coach. We're playing for our coach. I think it was interesting, though, when Helton was asked and when Hayden was later asked if he had not beaten UCLA, if USC had not beaten UCLA, would we be here today talking about this? I have some doubts. Not that he might not have become the head coach anyway, but the fact that they named him today, I think, had a lot to do with that performance against UCLA.
Lucky for coaches, they don't work in hypotheticals. All right, USC will play Stanford on Saturday. For continuing coverage on Clay Helton's hiring, be sure to keep it on the Los Angeles Times.